Chapter 8 Departures. As soon as they close the airlock, Will and Maxim hurry to the armory/prep area. Will tilts his head up to address the ship. Computer, we're back. Begin pre-flight diagnostics. Sure thing, Captain, the ship's voice chirps back. Will looks at Maxim. Still not used to that. He pats the big man on the shoulder, smiling. We did it. Suddenly, the crate in the corner starts to thud from inside. Oh, Drin, Zephyr. Maxim rushes over and unseals the lid. Zephyr, back to being visible, jumps out. Did you forget about me? She growls, looking at them. No. Both answer at the same time, blushing slightly. To avoid her, they start changing out of their outfits. Will removing one sidearm and some of the armor components from his long coat. I'll be on the bridge. We should get out of here ASAP. Maxim had changed from one bland uniform to a slightly less dull jumpsuit, which has become his shipboard uniform. ASAP? Shaking his head, Will walks out of the staging room and towards the bridge. Zephyr begins to strip down out of her peacekeeper armor, taking each piece off and assembling it on a rack for storage. Shaking her head, she mutters, Humans. On the bridge, Benny is at his station. We're all set. Will takes a seat at his pilot station. Great. Computer, open a comm channel, voice only, to the station. There's a low beep indicating the channel is now open. Station, the Serenity is ready for departure. There's no response from the station, but through the hull, the loud clank of a releasing docking collar can be heard. The view on the main display lurches slightly as the ship drifts away from the docking collar. Benny snickers. Guess they're glad to see us on our way. Will eases the ship away from the station and brings her about. Once they are safely distant from the station, he fires the main sublight engines. Keeping his speed to a calm-looking pace is tough, but shooting out like a bat out of hell would be suspicious, and part of his plan hinges on Will and the crew of the Ghost, and the Ghost itself, being just a ship and crew, nothing much to recall. Maxim and Zephyr walk through the hatch and take their stations. Zephyr turns to Will. Where to now? Will works the controls for a few beats, then replies. We're heading to Malcor. Fury would be too hot, even if the U3 hadn't caused a stir there. It'd be the first place anyone who catches on to this little heist would look. Zarex has an operation on Malcor and said we could make the delivery there, get paid, and be on our way. On the upside, we don't even have to deal with Zarex, which, believe me, is a plus. Benny nods his head vigorously. Yeah, Fury'd be hot, and Zarex is a scumlord. The gray market on Malcor will have all kinds of tech. Can't wait. Will turns back to his station as the ship starts to jump to FTL. 3 days FTL, folks. Time to relax. I'm getting a grum. He stands and heads for the bridge hatch. Who's with me? A little while later, sitting around the table in the galley area, the crew are happily exchanging stories about their parts in the heist. For the first time since taking possession of the Ghost, Will feels like the ship is more complete. He feels more complete. The fear of being alone in space for the rest of his life is finally starting to fade. Will smiles. The funk he'd been feeling and fighting off has diminished slightly. Maxim is relating how hard it was to stay silent the entire time when Benny interrupts. You hardly ever talk. Suddenly you want to get chatty? Everyone laughs, including Maxim. Will smiles. Zephyr takes a long swig of her grum. You both had it easy. I had to jump off that railing, catch myself, and hang there. All without making a single sound. She mimics holding herself on the railing, while Maxim nods and grins at her. You know the suit makes me nearly invisible, not soundproof. We're lucky I wasn't doing your part. You know I'm no good at the silent stuff, special armor or not. Maxim replies. Will laughs. Yeah, no offense, pal, but you are not the limber gymnast type. Benny guffaws, a loud, high-pitched braying laugh. Everyone stops. He stops. What? That was funny. Now I'm picturing Maxim in some type of gymnastics outfit, prancing around. A punch in his tiny arm ends that mental image. Maxim grins. Zephyr takes in the scene and looks at the group, then at Will. She asks the question they've all been wanting to ask. So, what's in the crate? Coming to you live from Studio 7 at GNO, I'm Monel Farage. Reports are beginning to trickle in of a conflict in the unaffiliated system of Harith. A rebel group has, apparently out of nowhere, risen up and is demanding, well, many things, with sovereignty for one of the moons in the system being the primary goal. It's unclear if the rebel group is new or merely an escalation of an existing issue in the Harith system. The newscaster, a heavy-set female Malkarite, is reporting from behind a desk at GNO, the galactic news outlet. As viewers may know, Harith is located near the outer frontier of the Galactic Commonwealth and, while not an official member, does engage in trade with many of its neighbors, who are GC members. Until recently, there have been no reports, official or otherwise, of trouble in this remote system. But something has changed. It seems these rebels are now well armed and well equipped. She looks off screen, then back. I'll keep you posted as things develop out on the frontier. I'm Monel Farage, and good day. What's in the crate? The crew is standing around the crate, now placed in the middle of the cargo hold. Will looks at each of them. You know we shouldn't be opening this, right? Benny looks up from where he's kneeling next to the crate's control panel. Did Zarex explicitly say not to open it? Will sighs. No, he didn't. He only didn't say, go ahead and rummage through the thing I'm paying you to steal either. So, maybe don't. Maxim chips in. Then it's settled. We open it. I think it's only fair to see what we risked our lives for. Also, I'm bigger than you. Will shrugs. Fine. Benny, can you open it, ideally so that we can close it back up and there's no evidence we touched it at all? Benny scrunches up his face in what is presumably a look of indignation among Braylac. I just hacked an entire space station, a super secure, secret space station, including the armored suits of the guards. You know what, though? This shipping crate might be too good. I might not be able to crack it. He shrugs. Will kicks him. Don't be a dick. Benny rubs his leg. So undervalued. He plugs his wrist comm into the data port on the crate. 2 seconds later, with a hiss, the crate opens. The lid slowly lifts up and away from the top. Benny backs up, trying to look inside. What's in it? What's in it? Will, Zephyr, and Maxim look up from the crate to Benny. Together, all three say, a robot. Inside the crate, it's a matte black robot, curled into a fetal position. That is the only way it would fit inside the crate. Its legs are long and thin. It must stand just over 2 meters. The entire thing is black except its joints, which are a dull gray color of whatever metal they're made out of. Benny waves his arms and nearly screams, Cool! He takes a running leap and lands on the edge of the crate to look down into it. Can we keep it? He looks up at Will. No, we can't keep it. Close the lid. We saw what was in the box. Will stalks out of the cargo hold. What's wrong with him? Maxim asks. Zephyr shrugs. Who knows? She looks down at the form inside the crate. What do you make of this? Maxim frowns. Looks like a service bot of some type. Definitely upgraded. Look here. That's not standard. He points at a module welded to the bot's shoulder. The only other thing that isn't matte black. Wonder why it's in a crate. And why it's so valuable, Zephyr adds. And what that thing does. She too looks at the shoulder attachment. Benny looks at the two Pelorians. Let's find out. He reaches in and activates the robot. All three take a step back. The bot inside the crate begins to make noises, faint whirs and clicks. Slowly, it stands up inside the crate. Its featureless face rotates to each of them in turn, yellow optical sensors spinning and focusing. Once standing, it's just over 2 meters tall, with long, thin arms and legs and a sleek but boxy body. A mix of angles and curves. The head is roughly oval-shaped, but the only features are the eyes, nothing else. Most bots the team has seen look distinctly more biological, presumably to help make their owners and operators more comfortable. This one was clearly not designed that way. There are two shorter arms tucked up against its body, perhaps for more fine motor control than the larger arms and hands are capable of. Hello. It again turns to face each of them, one at a time. I am Engineering Service Bot GBE 102002. Its voice is neutral and largely genderless, slightly deeper than Zephyr's voice. Where am I? Who are you? I am not detecting any Peacekeeper comms. I am no longer on a Peacekeeper vessel. This is not a question, more statement of fact. Gabe. What part of no wasn't clear? Will is furious and pacing the common area, while the crew sits in silence. GBE 102002 is standing in the corner of the galley, head tracking Will as he paces the small space. I didn't not answer. I didn't give you a vague answer. I very clearly said no. Then I left the hold. Benny looks at Will. Technically, you said we couldn't keep it, not that we couldn't turn it on. Will grabs a pillow off the chair next to him and hurls it at Benny, who yelps and just barely avoids a pillow to the face. Why would you think it was okay to turn it on if we weren't keeping it? What if it was some kind of killbot or something? The robot raises his hand. Excuse me, but I am not a killbot, for what it is worth. Also, if it helps, you may use male pronouns when speaking about me. I have found selecting one gender or another helps biological beings more easily interact with me. The robot's voice is oddly accentless and could easily be a low-pitched feminine voice, or slightly high baritone. If you weren't looking at a robot, it would be nearly impossible to tell the gender or race that belongs to the voice. Not talking to you, Will yells, not even turning around. Now, we have to turn it off and get it back in the crate. Zarix is waiting for our delivery, or at least one of his goons on Malcor is. We need the money. That gear Zephyr and Maxim bought wasn't cheap. Benny needs gear too. We can't stiff Zarix on this, even if we didn't need the credits. Stiffing Zarix isn't a good idea. Zephyr sets down her cup of coffee. Do we know if Zarix knows what he's waiting for? She turns to the robot. GBE 10022, do you know why you were in the crate? Do you know what modifications have been made to you? First, to be clear, my designation is GBE 102002. Since awakening, I have been running every diagnostic I possess. All that I can say is that I am fully operational. I was designed to work aboard larger vessels in an engineering capacity. The modifications you asked about, however, are a mystery to me. It reaches back and touches the piece of equipment welded to its back and shoulder. This device is a mystery. It is integrated into my power systems, yet all of its functions are firewalled from my primary systems. I can also identify an encrypted block of data in my central databank that I do not possess the key for. Maxim looks thoughtful. Zarix must want that data, or whatever your add-on does, or both. I do not know this Zarix. My previous place of work was on the Peacekeeper carrier Pax Magellanic. In the primary engineering space, I reported to Lieutenant Ablex. Zephyr and Maxim both look aghast. You're a Peacekeeper bot? They say in unison. Zephyr looks at Will. Do you think this could be related to why we were framed? Will collapses down into the nearest chair. Fuck, I don't know. Maybe. Certainly seemed like a weird coincidence otherwise. Damn it. I knew this wasn't going to be easy. Nothing with Zarix is ever easy. What's he gotten me tangled up in? Hell, what's he gotten himself tangled up in? Why is he trafficking in stolen bots? Benny stands up. Look, I know you don't think we should have turned him on, but obviously that ship has gone FTL. So why don't we figure out what's going on? We're still a few days out from Alcor. I can dig around in BG8675309's databanks and maybe encrypt the data block or break the firewalls on his additional hardware. Worst case, I can't. Best case, We know more when we get there, and we can make better decisions. Benny spreads his hands wide. Come on, you know you're curious. He smiles, which is slightly off-putting given all those pointy teeth. The bot raises its hand. Excuse me, it is GBE 102002. Okay, fine. GBE. I can't keep saying all that. Gabe. Gabe is your name. Would you mind going with Benny to engineering, Gabe? Thanks, Will. Benny heads for the hatch and Gabe turns to follow. Don't thank me yet. We're in deep shit here, you guys. I can't emphasize this enough. Will sighs and stands up, heading to the galley and food storage area. I need a damn grum. The past. For Will, the last week has been both the most exciting of his life and complete hell. The Reaper is still sitting at the spaceport at Gupta, its crew coming and going while some type of cargo is being loaded onto the ship. Will has had some freedom to move around the ship, but Langsham has made it clear he wasn't to leave the Reaper, so the closest he's gotten to this alien planet they're on is looking at the tarmac from the upper level of the cargo area, which is not much of a view. The Reaper doesn't have any windows, which seems like a major design flaw to Will. Space is limited on the ship, so Will's been assigned a small closet with a bed in it. Thankfully, he's not bunking with anyone else, which is a minor plus based on what he's overheard from the rest of the crew. Jax and Rollo, the two goons he met on his first day, are apparently an item, but bicker more than any married couple Will has ever met. Luckily, his bunk, such as it is, isn't near their shared quarters. Apparently, when they make up, it keeps their neighbors up. Langsham hasn't given him a role yet, so Will's mostly a cabin boy, which, while cool and exciting in kids' books, actually sucks, at least when the pirates are space pirates. The crew lounge makes the worst hostel in the Third World look luxurious by comparison, and it's Will's job to keep it clean, which apparently is a source of great amusement for the crew, who seem hell-bent on doing their best to destroy the place on a daily basis. He's scrubbing something off the table when Langsham enters. Will, come with me. Without another word, the captain turns and heads back out of the lounge. Will drops his sponge and follows the tall alien. What's up? He asks, catching up with Langsham halfway to the bridge. The captain slows down and looks at Will. We're done here on Gupta. The last of the cargo is here and being loaded now. Rollo and Jax are seeing to getting it stored. Will nods. Okay, cool. Why am I being told this? He thinks. It's time for you to decide what you're going to do. Langsham looks Will in the eyes. You can stay here on Gupta. Find work. There are plenty of opportunities. Will looks down at his hands. There's grime and whatever that was on the table on them. I don't want to leave the ship. I don't know you any better than I did a week ago, and I know more about Jax and Rollo than I ever wanted to. But now that I'm stuck out here in space and can never go home, I want to see it all. Langsham smiles. I thought you might say that. Good to hear. This planet sucks, but I wanted it to be your choice. Be clear, this isn't a cruise ship. If you're crew, you work. We do what we need to keep flying. We don't always do nice things. Will isn't entirely sure what that means, but knows this ship, its crew, and its captain are all a part of some kind of space piracy. I understand. Langsham smiles. I doubt it, but you will eventually. He continues toward the bridge. The crew lounge isn't going to clean itself. Will is sitting in the lounge he's just cleaned when Rollo, the taller of the two aliens, enters. Hey, tiny creature, this place looks nice. Will lifts his grum in a toast. Thanks, Rollo. Where's Jax? The big alien, Will still doesn't know what his race is called, plops down into the seat next to Will. Finishing up in the cargo hold. The last load is bigger than Langsham planned. It's taking some extra work to get it to all fit. Jack's okay. He's great with making things fit. Grab me one of those. Will grunts, swallowing the reply on the tip of his tongue. He gets up and grabs a grum from the kitchenette, tossing it to, or at, Rollo. He snatches it out of the air with one clawed hand. Will falls back into his seat. So, where are we going next? Where's the cargo going? What is the cargo, for that matter? Rollo looks at him. None of your business, none of your business, and none of your business. Just then, Jax walks in. Rollo stands up. Everything good to go? The less large of the pair grabs the bottle of grum and takes a gulp. Yeah, we're good. I let Linksham know. The two walk over to the kitchen table. Will is still sitting in his chair when the small green alien who hacked into its pod comes in. Apparently his species is called Braylak. Hey, Pink Skin, what are you doing? What's it look like, Olgo? Sitting here enjoying a grum after cleaning this lounge after you filthy animals destroyed it. Again. Will raises his bottle. Say, you know where we're headed? Tweedledee and Twiddledum won't tell me. We're going to Zellir. I don't think you want to know what's in the cargo, but trust me when I say Zellir isn't a friendly place. I think Linksham took this job so we'd have a few extra credits in the ship's account. Do we need the money? Who doesn't need money? I guess, but if it's that dangerous. You worry like this all the time, Pinky. The small hacker is leering at Will. You know, I'm literally twice as tall and probably 3 times as strong as you, right? He reaches over and punches Olgo.